What is up, guys? It is me, your boy John with Grand Exploration, and welcome to another episode of The Build. Today, we are putting on Chief Products Hidden Winch Mount, and I'm excited to get this on. And it is cold outside. It's been like between 14 degrees some days, and now I think today is just finally, well, it reached 20 and now it's back to 16. So um, let's put this winch mount on. I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and also talk about some of my concerns with the winch cradle, potential concerns, and how I like it. Also, we're putting in the open road 9,500 pound winch. We will talk not too much about that, but I'll show you guys how to clock the winch to get the clutch position where you want it, and what my hopes are for this winch. So if you haven't hit subscribe, smack that subscribe button. I really appreciate your guys' support. We're growing like crazy, and it's just amazing to me. There are going to be some new things coming up. There will be a Patreon group that I am going to start. I will notify you guys when that is up and running. And we are getting the store together. It's in its final stages, I promise. We will have merch and things like that. We've just been so crazy and busy. And also, it's almost time for my son to be born. So that's taken a lot of my time too. I'm super excited about that. That's going to be happening anytime now. But I am not slowing down on this channel. So thank you guys for bearing with me. This is going to keep coming. We're going to keep growing, having fun. And looks like I'll be raising a little overlander here soon. So I'm excited. Let's get into this video, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's do it. All right, one of my biggest concerns with adding this winch is the amount the front end's gonna go down. Now, I have the Dobinson springs. They're the medium duty. I think they should be able to hold 400 extra pounds. But the Jeep already has a rake, so I don't want that rake to increase. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure my hub defender now, and then see what it's at once I get the winch on. And we may need to add another shim, maybe like a 3/8 shim. I don't know. I'll do the math later, but yeah, let's just see where we're at now. So it looks like the front end is at 21 inches from hub to fender. So let's hope we don't go too much lower than that. All right, since we're gonna have the whole front bumper and front end off to install this winch, I'm gonna go ahead and replace my LED light bulbs, because the ones I have in now, they're good bulbs. They're from Oxido, but I came from halogens, and so it didn't have the right little microchip to trick the sensor. I think it's called like a CAN bus or sensor or something like that. So I got the right ones, so we're gonna go ahead and just replace those headlights as well while we're in there. So let's do that too. Headlights are easy to replace and people let on. I mean, it is inconvenient that the best way to do it is to actually take the bumper off, but don't let that intimidate you. At the end of the day, it is easier than actually going through the portals underneath and getting your hands all scratched up. Just take the time to actually pull the bumper. We got two 10 mil bolts on the side, and then you got 10 mil up front. And then you got a 10 mil deep in this socket. Cool. And then you got a 10 mil up at the top. Easy peasy. Then you just pull this whole unit. And unplug our bulbs. And boom, you got a headlight out. And now you can just replace all your bulbs without trying to reach all into the access hole where, let's face it, no one can reach their hands unless you're an elf. So take it out. So like I said before, you got a 10 mil there, you got a 10 mil there, you got a 10 mil right there, 10 mil in there, and a 10 mil right there. And your headlight comes right out. So forgive me, I got the heater, the diesel heater running in the back. It's a little loud. But I was just going to show you the difference of what I'm talking about with my LED bulbs. My Jeep Grand Cherokee came standard with halogen, and I tried to put an LED H1 in. Now yours probably isn't an H1. My headlights are aftermarket and they run off of H1. But I had an H1 LED in, just bare bones, no technology, just straight LED. And since LEDs run on a lower power, the vehicle, I believe, recognizes it as that light is out, and it kind of shuts power on and off to that light, causing it to flicker. So what I got from Oxedo was an H1 LED with kind of a little chip in it, just a little more technology in that bad boy, and it's supposed to trick the system into thinking that the light is all good, which it is, and it will stay on and hopefully not flicker. So hopefully these work. The next step now is we are going to disassemble my Chief Products lower front guard, as well as the upper fascia protection, and take down my Six Monkeys aluminum skid plating underneath, because those need to be hammered out and straightened out again before we put everything back, just so everything fits the way it's supposed to fit. I've been meaning to do that for a while. Now we're under here. Let's get it done. I'm going to start by undoing all of these bolts, and they are all 13 mil. Lefty loosey, remember that one. All right, so I got the Chief Products lower front guard. I got my Six Monkeys bash plate all taken off the Jeep. And before we start this winch mount, I'm gonna go ahead and hammer out the Six Monkeys aluminum plate so it's straight back to where it was when I first bought it, and everything will fit flush. So let's bang that out. That bent decently. All right, next I'm going to take these lower guard brackets off on each side, and we're going to remove the recovery hooks. As you see, mine's still broken. I'm waiting on a set of new ones from Six Monkeys. Wait till you see these coming. Hopefully this doesn't keep us from putting on the winch mount, because I know you have to sandwich the recovery points between some brackets, but we'll see when I crack open these instructions. And then we're going to be removing this OEM steel bumper, because the winch mount is going to replace this bumper. It looks like that bolt and that bolt, and that looks like it should be it on both sides, but I'm sure there's something more that I don't see yet, so we'll get to it when we get to it. All right, now we're taking the recovery hooks out. I got this one unbolted down here. If you're running the rough country recovery hooks, this is at 18 socket, 18 mil. Go ahead and drop those. And then this Chief Products bracket that's sandwiched between it, will fall out with it. All right, so for this OEM steel front bumper removal, there was those two that I told you about, which are 13 mil. Yeah, that one and that one are both 13 mil. Then you got this little one in there. That is going to be a 10 mil. We have the bumper unbolted. We're going to take the radiator support bars off because that's the last thing holding the bumper up. And then Chief Products has supplied us with stronger, supposedly stronger radiator support bars. So let's do it. These radiator support bars are a 13 mil as well. So as soon as we loosen this up, the front bumper will drop. Just like that. All right, now we're at the point where everything is cleared from the front of the vehicle. Bumper, radiator support mounts, Chief Products lower guard, all of it taken off. We have a blank canvas, and now for the exciting part. Now it's time for the moment I've been waiting for. Hopefully you've been waiting for. Check it out. We got the open road 9,500 pound winch. We'll talk a little bit about that when it's time to put that in. And here we have all the components to the Chief Products hidden winch mount that we'll be installing on the Granite Grand. So now that we got her all cleared up, blank canvas, let's get to work, man. Chief Products directions first say we're going to remove or disconnect the wiring loom. We're going to remove that bolt, which is an M8, and that bolt, not that one, that one, that's an M6 bolt. We're going to remove those on both sides. Now, normally I would use some power tools, but I don't know. I feel like doing it the old-fashioned way today. Very precise. I'm not too worried about stripping these bolts, but I want to just be careful. I only got one shot at this. And for those of you that are like, what the heck is an M8 bolt? It seems to be a 13 mil. Alright, she's out. She's a long one. And now it looks like we have the M6, which I think is a 10 mil. Yep. Oh, she had 0 resistance for us. She popped right out. Boom. We got our washers and bolts laid out. We got really fat ones. These ones are letter F. We got the neck size down, which are longer and skinnier. That second row, those are letter G. We're going to take a G bolt with a J washer, which is going to be one of these ones. See, these are medium size, those are bigger, and then those are real little. We're going to take these medium ones. We're going to take 2 of each, and we're going to put the chassis mount bracket on. I'll show you from a side view what this is supposed to look like. So we have our recovery hook here. We have the chassis mount bracket. This is going to go just like this. Okay. And then we're going to add this little spacer. And that guy is going to go right on top. Just like that. Chassis mount bracket, spacer, recovery point on the bottom. Finger tight. So I forgot one important part. So when you're sandwiching that spacer in there, if you're running the WK2 lower guard, you need to take that bracket for the guard and sandwich it on top of that spacer and just kind of tap her in there like that. So she's going to go above the spacer and the chassis mount goes below the spacer. So now you should be looking like this. Finger tight on the bolts. Those are M10s. Let's do it on the other side. One thing to note, if you are adding a recovery hook at the bottom of this mount, you're not going to be able to use the M10 40 mil bolts that they supplied for it. You're going to need to use an M10 90 mil. I got away with an 80 mil. I got plenty of thread with an 80. Just a note. All right, and I don't know why it told us to take these M6s out of here, because now the next step says install them. And I never used anything for it, but whatever. Go ahead and put them back for both sides. All right, we're going to be putting these chassis mounts on. These are going to bolt straight to your OEM bolt, these 100 mil. They're going to line up with this plate here. So these are side specific, and Chief Products does indicate which side they go on. Here. Like that. They have tightened. And then if you have the lower guard, that is when you put this little bracket on. That is going to go down here. Just let that thing wobble. Now you're going to take, for both sides, your OEM M8 M or 40 mil, and that's, you're going to put one right there and one right there, and it's going to mount to the vehicle. So it'll look like that and that. And in case you guys need clarification, that bolt and that bolt are 13 mils. That guy is a 10 mil. Next, you're going to take washer I with bolt F, which is a 35 millimeter M12. And that is going to go through the top hole. Do that for both sides. All right, you should be looking like that right now. Now, it's really important that in the previous steps, you kept all of these bolts finger tight, because you're gonna have a heck of a time lining these holes up with these holes if you did not finger tight them, because you need to be able to move them around quite a bit. Now, next step is to do the same thing, but on this bottom hole here, on both sides. Let's do that. But I had a heck of a time getting this bolt and this bolt in together. I had to pretty much take this whole bottom piece out, unbolt it all, and then match these two up and then get it all connected. So beware of that. You may have to just undo the whole bottom half. All right, guys, this is a little frustrating trying to get these bolts matched up. I mean, I had them less than finger tight. I mean, I had them so loose that some of the bolts were falling out. And I had to undo the lower portion of this to get these two bolts to match up. And now that I got those matched up, the other bolts will not match up. Now I'm improvising and I'm using a jack to lift up this lower piece so that those bolts in there could match up. Now, this for me right here is almost like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. This should be matching up. But there is an off chance that maybe my frame is tweaked. I don't know. But I do know that Prodigal Overland had the same issue. So if he wants to weigh in on this, if he found any answers to this or why this happens, let me know. I'd love to hear this because I feel like I'm doing everything right, but yet I'm having to grab a 2x4 and a freaking jack to make this supposed system that's meticulously created for this vehicle to fit properly. That doesn't seem right. So if anyone knows, let me know. And if I'm being stupid, please do not hesitate to tell me. So I don't know why we're having a hell of a time matching the centerpiece up with the sides. We had to clamp it down. I have half the mind to just tell people I don't recommend this. It's also kind of weird how it pulls from the radiator subframe. I would think you'd want a winch mounted to the actual frame somehow. I don't know about the subframe, but we'll see. All right, she's on. Not everything's fully tightened down yet, but after I got everything lined up and bolted, the only bolt I had an issue with was this bottom one. And it started fouling up the threads a little bit. I got it as even as I could. I jacked it up with a 2x4 and it just wanted to go in a little crooked. So I just made the decision to go ahead and impact it. She's in there. She's not gonna be fun getting out if I ever want to, but she's in there. Next step is gonna be the support brackets. All right, so for the 2015, this end comes with a little nutsert that's gonna go on the back of your winch mount through these holes out here. And you're gonna use your OEM bolts up here. The one thing to look at is this bend right here where my thumb is. This is where it's supposed to be positioned, out. All right, let's put them in. Next, you're gonna take an L bolt with an H locking washer, and you're gonna run it right through here and match it up with the nutsert on the back of this. Right there. Should look like that. Now do the other side. All right, almost there. Now we're gonna go ahead and tighten everything. So we'll tighten these support brackets. We're gonna tighten down these 3 bolts here in the center. Hold the center forward as far as you can and tighten these all down. Then we will tighten all of these bolts on each side. Boom. Now remember to tighten up your recovery points or just the lower piece if you don't have recovery points. All right, there she sits. Boom. We're not done yet. Because I need to clock this winch. And I'll show you guys how to do it so that your clutch can fit into that hole and you can reach the clutch from under here. So let's get it done. All right, to clock this winch for the open road Panther 9,500 pound, we're gonna use a 6mm Allen. We're gonna remove these 2 Allen screws. It would have been easier if the winch, like most, had the clutch back here and you could just take this off,
but we have to take this whole piece off. And once you take off those Allen screws, this shaft should just be sticking out here. There's a good amount of grease in there, but it never hurts to add a little more, especially when they're brand new. And now we are going to undo every single one of these little Allen screws. And we're going to lift up carefully because there's going to be like a paper gasket or something. Just be careful when you lift this up. And then we will rotate. Almost forgot. And to get each one of these little Allen screws out, you need a 2.5 mil Allen key. All right, I got all of these little Allen screws all lifted up. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to lift this whole piece up and then clock it. You're going to rotate it to where you want it. I believe you can't do a full 90 degrees. So that means I probably can't do a full 180. I might have to have it canted a little bit. But as long as it can still fit in the bottom of my winch mount, I'll be happy. So let's try her out. Careful of that little paper seal. There, now she's clocked. I flipped this top piece all the way around. We're almost perfectly at 180 degrees. It's just a little bit off. That's all right. That'll give us more than what we need. All right, we're clocked. And I take that back. It actually was a perfect 180. I don't know if my eyes are crooked or what, but it worked out perfect. It's straight down. All right, winch is mounted, bolted down. It's really easy to do because with the winch, they put little slots in here. And you can just put your little square nuts inside and it matches up perfectly. Now we're gonna run our positive and negatives up and under where the headlight will go. Bam. All right, so we got the winch wires running up under here, underneath where the headlight should go, up into the engine bay, negative terminal, positive terminal. Now go ahead and I had to cut this plastic piece here. In the instructions that I saw later, they actually cut the upper half and left the lower half, but this was really in my way with trying to install all this, so I just cut it from the bottom and I zip tied the wire loom to the support brackets, and it looks like it's doing just fine. So now I'm gonna put the lower guard back on. If you have that, you know how to do that already, and we should be good to go. It is cold. All right, guys, that is it. That is the Chief Products hidden winch mount. And sorry, the Granite is pretty dirty. I would have cleaned her up for you, but it's 14 degrees outside and every car wash known to man is closed right now, and I'm not turning on my hose. But yes, that is the winch mount install. I really hope you enjoyed it. As you saw, we did have some difficulties matching all the components up and getting the bolts to fit properly, where I had to improvise and jack it up with a 2x4. I don't know. I'm not here to bash Chief Products at all. Like I said before, maybe my my frame is somewhat tweaked. And I do know that Brad from Prodigal Overland had somewhat of the same issue. So I would love to hear from Brad. If you know something or you found out something, why that was happening, please let me know. I'd appreciate it. But all in all, I mean, the whole setup looks great. Chief Products, their products look amazing. Just really cool. They stand out. Almost looks kind of Decepticon-y down here. But I do have some concerns. One being the lower guard and cradle combo seem to leave quite a bit of space in here, leaving that radiator pretty exposed, which makes me think that sticks and debris could potentially get in there and puncture the radiator. I don't know. I guess we'll see, but it does look like a lot of space. The other concern I had was that the winch cradle actually bolts to the radiator subframe. I'm not an expert, so please, if someone is an expert, do not hesitate to tell me, no, you're done, bro, that works just fine. But to me, it seems like that might be a space or an area that is a little bit weaker as opposed to it bolting to the actual frame. But like I said again, we'll see. But I would enjoy and welcome as many comments as possible on that fact or on that issue. But yeah, it looks great. I love it. We went with the open road 9,500 pound winch. It was between that and the new Smitty built. That was kind of my price range. And the full-on deciding factor was that the open road came with 2 wireless remotes, which I need obviously because this is a hidden winch and I have no way to access the plug-in port for the wired up controller. So, and the Smitty built 10,000 pound did not come with a wireless controller. So that's why I went with that. Open Road did contact me a couple weeks ago about a sponsorship or a product sponsorship. And I didn't end up going with it. But I did get their winch for Christmas anyway. So still a big shout out to Open Road. The winch looks great. At least aesthetically now, we will be putting it to the test. And I will tag you guys in it regardless of a sponsorship or not, because a good product deserves its props. But that is what we went with. And the Agency 6 winch hook. I don't know a lot about it. I know it's made in the USA, which is why I like it. And it has its ratings posted on the actual hook. If anyone else knows more about Agency 6, if they recommend it or they don't, or if they've had issues with it in the past, don't hesitate to let me know. I'd definitely like to know before I start putting it into some real work. But so far it looked like it was good and I wasn't ready to buy a factory 55 yet. But yeah, the setup looks awesome. I love it. I really hope you guys do too. And Amazon links are in the description, as well as the links I will leave to the Chief Products winch, hidden winch cradle, as well as the winch and the winch hook if you're interested in that. And man, that is a wrap, guys. Like always, I love you. Peace. And if you haven't hit subscribe now. We're making new videos every single week. All right, guys, I'm out. And my fear did come to reality. That is, the front end did drop 3/4 of an inch. Not bad, but it gave me more of a rake, as you see. But not to worry, because I have a set of 3/8 inch shims, so 3/4 of an inch of lift that I can put under or on top of the front struts. So we will be all right. I'm gonna wait till I get a few more components that I'm adding, some more B Woody products to strengthen up the suspension. So I'm gonna do all that at the same time so I can do the alignment. But yeah, the winch did make me drop 3/4 of an inch with the cradle and the winch itself. I think it was about 110, 115 pounds up in the front. So I do have the Dobinson medium duty springs, which should hold an extra 400 pounds of weight, but she did drop a smidge. So just keep that in mind. If you put this winch cradle on along with your winch, you're going to drop a little bit in the front. It's to be expected.